All eyes ahead for 2019. We're here to report on the future of the Dallas Cowboys. We move forward with new coaches. We break down the draft, fine-tune the roster, and ask who's getting paid and who's got to wait. And, as usual, we bring you insider access to OTAs and minicamps, priming you for 2019. We're the Blitz, and we're bringing it all to you, straight from the Star.
Welcome into our final episode of The Blitz for the offseason. Happy Father's Day to you all, and to you too, Bill Jones.
Well, thank you very much, Lindsay. It has been a great weekend.
Good. Yeah, it's been great, and minicamp's been crazy. There's been so much to talk about, whether it's Dak Prescott, how he's progressed, maybe the backup quarterback. We're going to cover all of it today. We'll start, though, with just recapping everything, Bill, and what are your thoughts on just where this team is? We're really close to training camp.
You know, it's an exciting time because the Cowboys have gotten through the offseason, good health. I think there are positive vibes coming out of the minicamp. Jason Garrett, by the way, in his 10th season now as head coach of the Cowboys, 9th full season as the head coach. And let's hear from Jason Garrett to start things off.
You know, so many of our players live here in Dallas. We obviously have a great facility. They like to be around here. So they like to work out here. They like to work out together. That's a real bonus for our team. I think it allows you to lay the kind of foundation you need to have for the rigors of a 17-game season. And I think that's been really positive for us. You always have new players on your team, whether it's rookies coming in or guys coming in from the outside. There's always turnover. So anytime you work together and you have shared commitment, I think that starts to create the bonds that you need going forward. And that's really what the best thing is about football. The bonds you create, the relationships you establish, you need them if you want to be part of a really good football team. And those are some of the best things to have as you go forward in your life. So I think it all fits together, and we're fortunate to have the kind of guys who want to be a part of it. We've got a lot of the right kind of guys on our team, and they go about things the right way.
That's a big advantage I think the Cowboys have every year, is the mere fact that here, people, all these players, they love living in the area, and so they don't have to fly in. Most of them don't have to fly in for off-season workouts. It's really a 2-month process where the official off-season program, now up until training camp, they'll be working out on their own. Dak Prescott will take his receivers to Florida about midway through this 6 weeks until training camp gets going. But I think more than anything, Lindsay, it's the leadership on this team, really starting back early days of March, where they're out here making sure that their teammates and themselves are going to be ready for the season.
And I will tell you, Bill, from where I sit at the Star, I can see the practice field out my window. Can't tell you who is out there, but I will tell you it is fascinating how many players are there when they don't have to be. Really good showing for the Cowboys all throughout the offseason. One of those players, though, who worked out the entire time to get back was Alan Hearns, and he said he had to overcome a lot just to get back out on the practice field this week.
It means a lot, you know. That's one of the tougher things going through injuries, you know, besides going through the pain and things like that, you know. But not being able to be out there and compete with your teammates, you know, seeing them going out there practice and things like that, that's one of the tougher things for me. So today it meant a lot, you know, just being out there with them. I think where I'm at mentally helped me a lot. You know, I didn't let a lot of things bring me down. You know, each week is going to be a new obstacle. You know, you're feeling better, you know, but say if next week you got to progress to like jumping, you know, you're going to get sore with that, you know, but that's part of the process, you know. Like I said, where I'm at mentally, I feel like that helped me a lot, you know. That's where I am today, you know. I'm back out there running routes, you know, so it just shows, you know, just having a good mindset will help you a lot.
And that was probably the best sight of minicamp this past week, is seeing Alan Hearns out there with his team. He's been working out on the side with Tavon Austin the last few weeks, but coming back from that gruesome ankle injury, a dislocated ankle suffered in the wild card win over Seattle, and to be back where he is right now, and really, he says he's at 90% right now, so I think it should be very interesting. He's got to fight for a spot on this team, because you look at the wide receiving core, the young receivers on this team, but this is one of the most highly respected and well-liked players in that locker room. And I know everybody's rooting for him to have a big bounce back after that awful injury in January.
Absolutely, 100% true, Bill. We're just getting started here on the Blitz this Father's Day weekend. Coming up next, we have Nick Eatman joining us from the bullpen to discuss the rest of that wide receiver group. Looking fresh upstairs, Nick. That's next.
The Dallas Cowboys Blitz is brought to you by AT&T. More for your thing, that's our thing. And by Dallas Cowboys Football Club. For the ultimate Dallas Cowboys experience, tour the Star in Frisco, where the Cowboys train and work. For more information, visit thestarinfrisco.com/tours. This segment is brought to you by AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing.
Just having 3 years under my belt and seeing the game the way that I do now, seeing it from the moment I break the huddle, them trying to get the defense trying to get lined up, having a great idea what they're going to do. That's been one of the biggest standouts I can say.
No better way to end minicamp than in a Stetson hat. Thank you for that entertainment, Dak Prescott. Bill, it seemed that a lot of people started talking about how he was really heating up throughout minicamp.
Yeah, I thought he looked great throughout the minicamp and the OTAs, and I think he looks great in a cowboy hat.
Natural fit.
Some people can wear a cowboy hat, others can't. I wonder if in the bullpen, Nick Eatman might be sporting a cowboy hat this week.
Nick!
No cowboy hat for Nick Eatman. But
you let us down.
Let's talk about, he's not Mr. Cowboy because Bob Lilly, of course, is Mr. Cowboy, but he looked like Mr. Cowboy, and he looked pretty good throughout the spring, didn't he, Nick?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what really he was wearing. He had a great offseason, and you know, obviously you're supposed to when you're not really getting tackled and rushed and things like that. But I think for Dak, it's, you know, yes, he can run the offense, and we see what he does with his legs. But you know, he was really on point all offseason with his throws, especially intermediate throws down the field. Looked very crisp. You know, that was one thing we wanted to see, was just how, you know, it was going to work with Kellen Moore running this offense. And so far so good. I mean, we'll see when the pads come on and you know, we get to training camp and preseason games and things like that. But when you're talking about throwing the ball down the field, finding the open receiver, he really looked good this offseason.
Nick, it's no secret that you got to take advantage of these limited practices and time together when you're here. How did Dak look meshing with Randall Cobb? Because there were a few eye-opening plays, and I guess the rest of those free agent acquisitions as well that you saw out there.
Yeah, I think it starts with him, and we'll have a list on the top 10 surprises on DallasCowboys.com, and I believe Randall Cobb will be very high on that list. Not that he's not going to come in here and contribute, but I think to mesh, like you said, as well as he did, was somewhat of a surprise. And the Cowboys have had success with that player. Cole Beasley was a productive slot receiver, but I think Cobb can be that and even more down the field. We saw that some in the practices, and especially around the goal line, which is another area the Cowboys struggled in. So if he can provide another deep threat down the field and also in the red zone, that would be a great addition for the Cowboys this year.
We look at number 58, Robert Quinn, there as well. What kind of impact do you think Quinn's going to have?
Well, I think that if, you know, Tyron Smith, it wasn't easy for him. I mean, he'll definitely compete, and he's a veteran guy that you know, I think he practiced almost every single day. He came in here and really did a nice job on this defensive line. We haven't really seen him on the opposite side of DeMarcus Lawrence, obviously, because D-Law's been out. But when those two guys get together, I think that's when you're going to see the impact of a veteran player like Quinn. So it's early, but yeah, I think he sets a great example for also the young guys they've got, Dorrance Armstrong and some of the rookies like Joe Jackson. So it'll be, and Kerry Hyder, you got to throw him in there. He's done a nice job defensive line, but it has started with the in position, started with Robert Quinn. And
we'll hear from Kerry Hyder later in the show. But Nick, you know, preseason games, those rookie wide receivers are guys that really can stand out. Who caught your eye as far as the rookie receivers?
Well, I think there's always somebody that does it, and especially, you know, this time of year, that's where you'll see these guys running routes. That's one thing you can really tell who's making the plays and who isn't. Jon'Vea Johnson was one of those guys that really started out. Now Jalen Guyton as well, but I think if you had to say one of the others, just the quickness that you see from Johnson, and he's not only quick around the line of scrimmage, but you know, down the field as well. You know, you saw some good things too from Reggie Davis there. He's a guy that can stretch the field, so I think he's kind of jumped into the mix as well. He had one of the better practices just a few weeks ago. And so those three guys right there, but we've seen this before. We know you get to camp. Even after that, you know, you have to keep doing it every single day. And remember the cornerbacks, if Byron Jones comes back, those cornerbacks are going to be a little bit tougher for those receivers to face.
All right, Nick, we thank you for joining us on our final episode of The Blitz. Right now, we just hope everything stays quiet for the next month, right?
Definitely.
All right.
You never know. know.
Thank you so much. We are going to take a quick break, but we've got more quarterback discussions next. And no, it does not involve Dak Prescott. Stick around.
This segment was brought to you by AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing. This segment is brought to you by Formation. Work the Cowboys way at the Star in Frisco. Formation offers workspaces, dedicated desks, and private offices. For more information, visit formationatthestar.com.
Welcome back to the Blitz, your Dallas Cowboys report. And time now for our final installment of Point Counterpoint for this offseason. And here's Lindsay.
Got to pay Dak Prescott.
I threw out the name Ezekiel Elliott. What do you guys think?
This offense was atrocious before he got here.
A guy at his age doing what he did, he's only going to get better.
Point Counterpoint time here in the studio. Rob Phillips, Brian Broaddus. Guys, we've got a point that kind of came out of nowhere throughout OTAs and minicamp. And the question is, Rob, I'm handing it off to you first. Is the backup quarterback on this roster? Because we've seen some good and we've seen some bad the past couple of weeks.
Yes, but we've seen a lot of good the last couple of days. Brian, I know you're watching. I know you're watching Mike White and Cooper Rush dropping dimes yesterday or earlier this week in the final minicamp practice. Jon'Vea Johnson, deep pass. Lance Lenore, deep pass. Cooper Rush looked a lot better. Both young quarterbacks led their offenses, second and third teams on 2-minute touchdown drives. A little more consistent. New quarterbacks coach, new OC, Kellen Moore. They're going to be patient with these guys, and honestly, I think they should be.
I'll tell you what, Rob, though, this is the thing that I want to look at about this quarterback situation. Why is it taking them 13 practices to have a good one? No, the backup quarterback is not on this roster right now, though. We've seen some Dak Prescott has taken steps forward under the new quarterback coach, John Kitna. The other two have not. I'm one of the biggest Mike White fans in this building, but Mike White has not developed in 2 years now that I've seen him as a player. So, no, the current backup quarterback is not on this roster. I know Dak Prescott is indestructible, but this, I think, is going to be a sticking point for this team.
I won't argue with you that early on it didn't look good as they got on. There's more of a comfort level. I'm willing to let them get into pads, get to Oxnard, and see how it goes, and get in the preseason games and see how they do. And Mike White, draft pick last year, they've got equity in him. By the way, they need the offensive line to protect those guys, too, to get a true evaluation once they get into the preseason games. And then you really can see what they got.
We all know and love Mickey Spagnola. So my question is, this is what Mickey would say about the situation. You're going to go get a veteran quarterback out there for your backup. Well, why isn't anyone else signed him? So, Brian, do you think there's a chance they may go get someone?
No, they have to. They cannot sacrifice this season if something happens to Dak Prescott, and they're playing with these two guys. It's just not going to work out that way.
But they've tried it. They've tried the Matt Castles, the Brandon Whedons, and it didn't work out. And they've tried to go the developmental route, work with Dak Prescott. Just give it a little bit more time. A little patience, Brian.
I am not sacrificing the season for these two guys. I'm sorry. Okay.
All right, stick around. All offseason, there may be some developments at the backup quarterback situation, and these two have much more coming for you on DallasCowboys.com.
There is no debate over this. This is the year of the Red Raider, and a Red Raider joins the Blitz when we come back in just a moment.
This segment was brought to you by Formation. Work the Cowboys way at the Star in Frisco. Formation offers workspaces, dedicated desks, and private offices. For more information, visit formationatthestar.com.
He's a tough, hard-nosed football player now. He's been an experienced NFL guy. I like him right now. You know, what he's doing, he's tough, he's physical.
Welcome back to the Blitz. Now that football is really quieting down, basketball ended this week. It's time to focus on the College World Series, right?
Yeah, that's right. This is sort of the Texas Tech segment here. What a year for the Red Raiders. They were in the basketball national championship game. The track team won a national championship. The baseball team in the College World Series. The cheerleaders won a national championship. They won a meat judging national championship.
It never ends.
Whatever that is. And Danny Surek is talking Red Raiders, and one who's a Cowboy now, right?
I
am, Bill. Hoping those Raiders accolades can come over to the Cowboys with new defensive lineman Kerry Hyder, who signed with the team in March. It says it was an easy decision to do so because it allowed him to come back home. Hyder grew up playing high school football in Austin, played college football at Texas Tech, and is now completing what he describes as a trifecta, playing professional football in Dallas. Hyder was also interested in joining the Cowboys because of the opportunity to play in an attack-style defense. The Cowboys just as intrigued with Hyder and his versatility on the line. Hyder has spent most of his career playing defensive end, however, also has experience at tackle. He says that versatility is important to him because he doesn't want to limit himself to just one position.
I just would describe myself as a defensive lineman. I don't try to put a title on it. Just wherever the coach needs me to line up at across the line, I feel like I can do it and be productive at it. Hopefully I can bring, a motor, I can effort. I want to be able to be versatile, be able to slide across the line. It's a really good group. I just want to, come in and help out the group and do my part.
Defensive coordinator Rod Marinelli mostly kept Hyder at defensive end throughout OTAs and minicamp to allow Hyder to showcase his talents and make the final roster before adjusting him into the tackle position. Hyder says he's had to adjust his game to fit Marinelli's disruptive defensive style.
It's an attack-style defense. I wasn't fortunate to play in that style last year, but this year, it's you upfield, you're trying to be disruptive, and you're trying to make plays. So I had to say that was my biggest adjustment, just, transitioning from more of a stalemate kind of defense into getting in the backfield, making plays.
Marinelli also praised Hyder's mindset, which Hyder says he learned through adversity. Hyder was an undrafted free agent and spent the first 2 years of his career on the practice squad for the Jets. After signing with the Lions in 2016, Hyder finished the season with 8 sacks. In the first 2017 preseason game, Hyder tore his Achilles, ending his season. In 2018, the Lions transitioned Hyder to defensive tackle as opposed to defensive end, where he spent his career playing.
It's kind of taught me to just, go with the course, just kind of, whenever I get a chance to stack days and just do well, just try to be as productive as possible when I can, but, don't get too high and don't get too low. Just keep stacking days and keep working, and stuff will work out for you in the end.
Hyder says he just wants to make an impact on this group. He says Marinelli has done a great job at pushing him to continue to get better.
Coach Marinelli, just to speak of him, every day he's working for us to be better men and to be better players, and he has so much knowledge of the game. My job is just to come in and be a sponge and just soak up everything Coach has, and in the end it'll work out for me.
Hyder says one of his goals is to become a member of the highly coveted Hot Boys, a group of defensive players who focus on playing intense football and doing so with a fun swagger. Hyder says that the recruitment process is not something he can work on in the classroom or the practice field. It's all about what you do in the game. Can you make a difference and give it your all every single snap? I talked to defensive end Dorrance Armstrong, who is a member of the Hot Boys and whose locker is next to Hyder's. And Armstrong said that Hyder has been making a case for himself. Multiple Hot Boys have been noticing his effort and improvement just through minicamp and OTAs, and says that Hyder would be a good fit in the Hot Boys group. So this is something we will definitely keep our eye on if Hyder starts donning that Hot Boys swag during the season.
All comes down to training camp, right? That's where the nitty-gritty happens.
And I think he is Rod Marinelli's type of guy.
Oh, yeah.
This aggressive attacking defense suits him to a T.
All right, Danny, thank you so much for joining us all season long. Great stuff. More from you coming this offseason on DallasCowboys.com. Bill and I will wrap it up for you here on The Blitz next.
The Dallas Cowboys Blitz was brought to you by AT&T. More for your thing, that's our thing. And by Dallas Cowboys Football Club. For the ultimate Dallas Cowboys experience, tour the Star in Frisco, where the Cowboys train and work. For more information, visit thestarinfrisco.com/tours.
All right, wrapping up the Blitz, it is Father's Day, Bill Jones. Happy Father's Day to you.
Well, thank you very much. We've had a great Father's Day weekend. In fact, we all got together. Although my youngest, Jordan, is out of town.
Look at that. Good-looking family.
On the right there's Jennifer, Jordan, and Jessica.
3 girls. That's so perfect.
And we don't have time for me to name all my son-in-laws too.
All
How about
right.
you? How about you?
The
Let's see
guys in
you.
my life. There's Evan, my husband, Air Force pilot, my dad, Todd. With my son, Riley, I am just surrounded by the best men ever. Thank you guys all for rocking. Thanks for tuning into the Blitz. We'll see you in Oxnard.